Across Africa, the soil tells a story of hands that plant hope, of women and men who rise with the sun, shaping the future of our food, our land, and our economies. This is AgriTalk Africa, the podcast that puts farmers first. We go beyond the headlines to bring you authentic conversations with people driving change in African agribusiness. From financial literacy to climate-smart farming, from the challenges of rural financing to the triumphs of innovation. We educate, we inform, and we inspire. Welcome to AgriTalk Africa, where agriculture meets action.
Hello and welcome to AgriTalk Africa. This is a podcast that endeavors to delve into different issues in the agricultural sector. I'm your host, Penjani Nzima, also known as Uncle P. And one thing you have to know is that this podcast is proudly brought to you with the compliments of LC Investments. These are the publishers of the AgriCorp newspaper, and of course, they are the people who are behind the AgriCorp Awards and the prestigious Farmers' Choice Awards. And one thing that you have to know is that on AgriTalk Africa, we simply talk agriculture. This morning, it's blazing hot, I know, but I have a privilege of having a man who does not need any formal introduction in the agriculture sector. He is our guest, and of course, he's the one, he wears a lot of hats. He is the author of the book, Be a Farmer, Be a Millionaire, an agri-motivator. Of course, he is also, right now, as we are conversating, the executive director of the Farmers Association of Zambia. It's my privilege to welcome Mwenda on the show. Mr. Mwenda, welcome to AgriTalk Africa.
Thank you very much. Africa out there, we are so delighted to be here this morning, and it's really my privilege to talk to Uncle P and the team. Thank you so much for bringing us together, and we hope that at the end of this session we'll be able to capture important points that really matter to the continent of Africa and of course Zambia, where we are.
That's great. Mr. Mwenda, before we go into the nitty-gritties of this podcast or our conversations, I would love you to just take us through as to what really motivated you to become a farmer, to become an author, and of course to become who you are today. When did this start? Just give us a brief background of the same.
Thank you very much. Eric Mwenda grew up from Senanga of Western Province.
Yes.
Of course, as a boy, I was very inquisitive in a number of things, and I think today is my first time to really talk about myself, really getting into some detail.
Yes.
When I was a young boy in the village, I used to get lost a lot. My mother would look around the village and start looking at me, looking for me to where I was.
Yes, sir.
But I was a boy who wanted to not to be caged in one place. I really wanted to go out there and play with my friends. All the time, the time I come out from school, primary school at Namalang Primary School in Senanga, I will find myself immediately after knocking off. I joined my friends. One of my best friends then was Patrick Lance, a colored by then,
yes,
who became a very good friend in the long run, and would go around and play around. And I think I became to start seeing that I'm not someone who should just be in one place. And apart from that, I think very early enough in my primary school in grade 5,
yes,
I formed, what I was calling Mkanda. Mkanda is basically, it's more or less like a ceremony that is done by the Luvales. When the boys have reached a certain age,
okay,
they take them somewhere for some ceremony, and they teach them a lot of things of how they can become boys and become responsible in the society. And that particular ceremony was just taking place very close to my village,
okay,
to the primary school where I was. And I learned quite a lot. I used to hear one of my best friends was also, among us, the children that went to that particular place. So I could hear, and then one day I said, Doc, let me also have my own. So it's like the entrepreneurial spirit started from there, where I started saying, no, okay, I think I can also have my own. And then I recruited boys, my friends that I was playing with, and we formed our own Mkanda. And I think the Luvales, from Northwestern Province, who know exactly what I'm talking about. And I had a Makishi, there was Chukuza, there was all those names of Makishi around. So in a way, I became very creative and started playing around with people, with children and the like. And having my own Mkanda was a privilege. And I think at some point, it even made me to fail one of my classes at school. Because great. I used to love that very much. So, but I think the point is that from the time I was young, I was very inquisitive. I just like to do a lot of things here and there. And I think in the process, I remember sitting at one of the trees, from my primary school, where I sat down and I was reading a novel, written by, it was a novel called Accusing Finger. And I think one of the people that did literature will be able to remember Accusing Finger, one of the good books then, written by an author from Western Province. Was talking about a story, a very interesting story. I would sit under a tree and read in grade 5. And after reading that, then I'll go back and start writing, in my book to write exactly what I was reading. And I think that developed my interest to start knowing how to read more books and get to know how to write a book is all about. And I think from there, I developed a system where I said, one day I'm going to have something that is going to be written. I was not calling it a book. I was just saying one day I'm going to write something that people are going to be interested about.
Yes, sir.
And that's how I developed the interest of reading, getting to have so much interest about reading. And of course, I love traveling. So at a certain point, to cut the story short, I went to secondary school at Senengo Secondary School. And then, some people always have a notion that the moment you leave secondary school, you directly go to the prestigious university. I never went to a prestigious university.
Is it?
It wasn't like that for me.
Okay.
I went to a very small college, which is called Chipembe Farm College. And I think by then I was just a small boy from the village, and I was one of the people that went there.
That's good.
So to cut the story short, because there are so many things that got involved here and there from university. I managed to do agribusiness and things like that. But I think what was very key is that the aspect of writing something was within me.
Yes, sir.
And even when I was at university and colleges, I was actually writing stuff. I was writing things, and I remember at some point I was also a pupil teacher. At some point, I became a teacher, for almost 3 years, and I think I was one of the best teachers then at the school, because I also used to like a lot of writing, like schemes of work. I would do excellent work and give to the headmaster, and they would check my work, and I became a sportsmaster. I was just very active in a lot of things.
That's very interesting.
Sportsmaster and quite a number of things. But generally, what I want to say is that during that particular time, I was watching and checking what is missing. And I realized that the information that I had was supposed to be put in a book. And I think I remember very well, almost 10 years ago or so, I said I need to start putting the information together and write a book. And apart from that, I think in 1999, when Facebook was almost coming on board, I actually said this would be a very good platform for me. And I started just writing my stories on Facebook, on Facebook, inspiring a lot of farmers to ensure that they get into farming with a different mindset. And in the process, I said, no, the farmers that we have in our country or in Africa as a whole, they always believe in handouts. And I wanted to remove the term handouts from them. And then eventually I said that one day I should write this book that is going to talk about the mindset. And at one point, after 10 years in the agriculture sector, I'm just making some shortcuts here and there because my history is very long. I'm talking about 30 years in the business now. So 30 years in the business means I'll take the whole day explaining about myself, but I'll just make some shortcuts. So what I want to say is that after working for 10 years, I was one of the fortunate agronomists in the country to introduce agro-dealing in the nation. One of the first people. I remember in 2006 when we did that. But then what was coming out during the trainings and the programs that we were doing with farmers was that the farmers were missing something that was very tangible. It wasn't something to do with the information we were giving them, but it was something to do with the kind of mindset they had for them really to actually adopt some of the strategies that we were introducing at the time. We introduced the use of weed killer in the country. We went around the whole country introducing weed killer so that they are able to understand the herbicide, the use of controlling weeds using the chemicals that we're using at the time. So it was very difficult for them to really get into it because the mindset was different. Because they were just thinking you are just getting a chemical spray on the grass will die. But it wasn't like that.
Definitely.
I know you want to cut me short, but I'm a minute.
No, continue.
Then eventually now, getting to that, I realized that this information is missing. So at some point I said, what is it that I'm going to do as an individual? Apart from the multinationals I've worked, companies that I've worked, I've amassed a lot of knowledge. I've been to Egypt, I've been to Kenya, South Africa, and all these countries. But then I said, there's something that is missing amongst our people.
Yes.
And I realized that the mindset really needed to change. And then I said, how do we make a change? Then a word came. I'm just saying it the way it came. The word came that you need to now be giving information to the farmers. The information should change the way they are looking at things. They look at farming as a business.
Yes.
But not necessarily a statement, but practically. They should understand that when they put a seed of tomato in the ground.
Yes.
I am Mr. Tomato, by the way.
I know.
That's the other name.
Yes, I know.
I'm Mr. Tomato, so I can't leave that.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
Mr. Tomato, 20 years later, I'm now called Mr. Tomato.
That's good.
So, the thing is that when you put a seed of tomato in the ground, what comes from there? I started now teaching the farmer of how to prepare the land, of how to grow tomato, of how to grow the right variety, working with the companies that were available at the time. And then I said, when you grow this tomato and it reaches maturity and you're able to get so many number of fruits from this particular plant, you are able to get so much kwachas.
That's good.
Then the idea of be a farmer, be a millionaire
was born.
That's
great, Mr. Mwenda. I know you can take the whole day, just like you said, that your background, your history is rich and is vast. So it can take us the whole day. But by the way, Mr. Mwenda, who am I not to congratulate you on your new appointment as the Executive Director of Farmers Association of Zambia. Congratulations, Mr. Mwenda.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's a humbling opportunity to be congratulated by you.
Let's look at it from a bigger perspective or from a bigger picture. Just kindly tell us the mission of the Farmers Association of Zambia and how does it help the farmers in this country?
I'll get into the real issue that our farmers are facing.
Yes, sir.
First of all, I want to say thank you for the people that appointed me as Executive Director of the Farmers Association of Zambia. It's a very big opportunity, and I think it's just a platform that we should make sure that our message reaches out to the people that really matter. Who is our farmer? So the Farmers Association of Zambia is an NGO, of course, formed in the year 2020.
Yes, sir.
They have been in existence for 5 years now, and today, being in the executive position, I felt like it's time that people know exactly what the Farmers Association is all about.
Yes, sir.
So basically, we are an association that would want to transform and change the people's lives through different ways and different means. The first thing that we are trying to do is, we're not talking about transformation.
Yes, sir.
We have been seeing things that have been happening in the country for many, many years. And we've done a lot as a country to be where we are today. But we still have a lot of gaps. So Farmers Association of Zambia is coming in to fill up some of those gaps so that we can have a complete farmer. Right now, the majority of the farmers have got a lot of issues. And I'm going to take a lot of time in explaining some of those issues. But for now, I just want to give the positioning of the Farmers Association of Zambia and how they would want to work with farmers.
Yes, sir.
So the transformation is that we want to ensure that we provide training, product knowledge training to our farmers. The product knowledge training will have different categories. We're talking about technology in terms of agriculture. We're talking about technology in terms of business. They need to understand that. We're talking about technology in terms of marketing. A complete farmer must have all those things.
Yes, sir.
Without them understanding the market, without them understanding production, without them understanding, even the technology of farming and all these things put together, they will not be complete farmer. And this is where the Farmers Association is coming in to provide all those things that I've just mentioned.
Yes.
And apart from that, we want to ensure that our farmers have ready market. When I'm talking about our farmers are having red market.
Yes, sir.
This is the statement. When you go to Google and you say red market for Zambia, you're going to find millions and millions of people that have tried to do those things. But at the end of the day, they have just reached somewhere. And then we are saying, since they have reached somewhere, why can't we pick from where they have reached and move on so that we make this thing a reality in our country? Because right now we're just talking about it, but it has not really happened. It's not happening. But there must be somebody who should come out from their slumber and say, we are going to do it. And Farmers Association of Zambia is coming in with the energy. You can see in the way I'm talking.
Yes.
I'm talking with the energy. We're not going to work alone. We are working with different stakeholders, and I'm very happy. The government of Zambia is very much ready to support our mission.
Yes.
Stakeholders, the private sector, and everything else. Last week we had meetings with the SADC region and other organizations. We're talking about the fertility of soil. We're talking about the nutrient status of our soils in our country. And we're trying to come up with the mapping, the strategies of how we can make our soils to become better. Farmers Association of Zambia is also in that particular program, and we've been appointed as stakeholders to ensure that we come up with strategies on how best we can make our soils to become the best they can be, to ensure that our farmers are not just plowing and digging the land. They are digging and plowing the land, knowing that there is something at the end. The be a farmer, be a millionaire should come to reality. It can only come to reality if we work together and bring those things together. And we are so excited as Farmers Association of Zambia to be part of that particular program or part of that organization that can actually make a change in people's lives. Apart from just the things I've mentioned,
yes, sir.
The long-term goals are that we would want to structure our farmers according to different programs they are doing. For example, commodity. We are talking about groundnuts. Yes. We're talking about sugar beans. We're talking about any other commodity that we can talk about, maize and all those. Now we are saying, if we have farmers, for example, in Eastern Province,
yes, Mr. Mwenda,
can we build up the farmers, giving them the knowledge, the training, everything else, and then connect them to both local and international market? How are we going to do that? I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritties of how we are going to do it, but what I'm going to say is that we are going to make that very possible because the experience is telling us what we need to do. We already know exactly what has been happening where farmers have not been actually getting the market. Now we are saying, why can we connect them to international markets? Right now, as we are speaking, we are talking to off-takers.
Yes, sir.
Who are very much ready to take the produce of the farmer. But in the status at which our farmers are, if we bring in the international off-takers to come and say, let them come and get something, there's literally nothing they'll get. The only thing they'll get is dust and stories. Because there's nothing that is there currently. This is why we are saying, we want to build up our farmers to reach that stage where they'll be saying, yes, we have got 2 tons, we have got 3 tons.
But Mr. Mwenda, just when you were talking about the off-take and looking at our farmers today, more especially the small-scale farmers, you discover that in as much as they've been empowered, but the production levels, the productivity has always remained very low. As an association, what do you think can be done to address this issue that has been there for a very long time? The government has come in. They are giving them subsidized farming inputs. I'm sure you're aware about the Farmer Input Support Program. And yet, the production and the productivity levels have remained low. What is it that the association will do to address this debacle?
Thank you very, very, very much. I wanted to first use a low voice in saying thank you very much. Then I want to go back.
Okay, Mr. Mwenda, yes, sir. Yes.
All right. Very interesting question. Successive years that have been there in the maize growing business.
Yes.
We have been seeing, farmers doing, 1.5 million tons.
Yes.
They go to 2 million tons. They go to 3 million tons. They go to 3.5 million tons. We are talking about 3.6 million tons as a projected, yield that the farmers are going to get in this country.
Yes.
And I think all these years, you've actually been saying that our farmers have really been struggling to actually just get, some of the good yields that the companies have been talking about. There's a very serious disconnect in so many things. First of all, when we talk about having a bumper harvest in our country, currently, if I was to take, 3 out of 10, we are looking at 10 million tons as a country, or maybe that's what the president is saying, that we really need to get to 10 million tons as a country so that we can have serious surplus, which we can actually export to other countries.
Is that attainable?
I'm going to that.
Okay.
I am going to that.
Yes, sir.
So what I'm trying to explain is that everything is attainable, but there must be a route, there must be a journey that we need to take. We have a lot of companies currently in the country that are producing latest varieties. I will use the word latest varieties of maize, whatever kind.
Yes.
They will talk very good about the varieties. And of course, the varieties are very good for your own information because I've been there. The varieties are very, very good. The genetics are excellent. We have good varieties. And for your own information, Zambia is one of the best countries in Africa in terms of the breeds of maize. We're actually giving out to all the countries in Africa. They are coming from Zambia.
But where are we missing it? Yes.
Wait.
Yes,
I'm explaining.
Okay. Yes.
So what I'm trying to say, I'm giving you a foundation.
Exactly.
Then I'll give you, this is what we need to do as a solution to curb this particular problem. So currently, Zambia is producing the best varieties of seed in Africa. Maize seed for that matter.
Yes.
That's number one. Then number two, there's the issue of information getting down to our farmers. Before this particular interview, I was having a chat with your managing director. I was actually trying to just brief him to say, look, this is what is happening. We don't usually get the time to explain these things. But I know with your platform, we should be able to reach the rest of the continent. What we are trying to say is that we have the good varieties. But now when the information is getting down, first of all, what you should understand is that these same companies, they always have what is called field days. They'll have a very good variety and they'll have a field day. They'll call a lot of farmers in a particular area. These are maize growing areas where the farmers will come and meet and learn quite a number of stuff from there. But in the process, the farmers will come. I would call it as an event. It's a farmer's day. These things have been happening for years and years. I'm not talking about something that has not worked. It has worked in one way or the other. But what I'm saying is that the few days and all these things have been happening where farmers are given information about the how these varieties are able to perform, talking about drought tolerant, talking about disease tolerant, and all those very, very good characteristics, which are very good. And of course, those varieties have really performed very well. But the problem comes to the farmer himself. The moment he gets into one-room house, 2-bedroom house, 3-bedroom house, whatever house he may have, the moment he gets into there, the whole system is rewired, going back to the same way that he has been doing the things. When you come back to them and start checking of what they did, out of 1 hectare or 2 hectares they did, maybe it's only half a hectare which has the new variety. The rest, they have gotten back to the old way of doing things. This is a reality. What is causing some of there are several problems that are there, but that's one of them, where now farmers now go back, they rewire themselves to the old way of doing things.
So should we safely say that these farmers have failed to embrace new technologies and instead they would opt to go back to what they've been doing all along?
Yes, that's the point.
Is that the main problem?
No, I'm not saying it's a main problem. I'm saying one of them. That's one of, because it's not everyone. Some of the farmers have adopted the new varieties and have done so well, and they are doing very well even as we speak right now. But you see, when you look at the averages, we have 1.5 million farmers on the FISI program.
Yes, sir.
And I would say for now, that's the only structured program that we have as a country, and that's where we can measure our yields and what the farmers have been doing. Right now, with the 3.6 million tons that the farmers have gotten,
yes, sir,
it means that the farmers have managed to get about 2.2 tons per hectare. 2.2 tons per hectare at 3.6 million tons that we have as a country. I hope we are together.
Yes.
2.2, meaning that's a yield that I've gotten from a hectare of maize.
Yes.
The standards which we are talking from the seed companies is that the farmers should get at least at least
6
tons, 7 tons, up to 10 tons. But 5 tons and going for... The moment Zambia gets to 5 tons, doubling what we have right now, we'll be well over 7 to 8 tons. And that means now we are able to supply the whole region and even make the staple mealie meal to be at an affordable price. Despite all the other, value chain things in terms of cost that make the produce to become so expensive and making the farmer not to be more profitable. But what I'm trying to say is that apart from that, we need a system that will make sure that the farmers now continue with the growing of these varieties. It's not about growing 10 tons, because growing 5 hectares, 6 hectares. Even if it is 1 hectare, very well managed. 1 hectare, very well managed. It means you're going to be doing 1.5 million hectares of land, which is going to produce at least 5 tons for each farmer. We need to make sure that now we are with the farmer. If I can use the word every day, it will not be a very good thing. But currently, we can say every day because we have got systems. Through Facebook, almost every farmer is on Facebook. Almost. I'm not saying every farmer, I'm just saying almost.
Almost, yes.
Almost every farmer now is on Facebook. Almost every person is on Facebook. Almost every person is listening to a community radio somewhere. There are a lot of other community radio stations in our country. We need to provide structured information, not necessarily information. When we deliver information, we'll always be getting the same results we've been getting all and all. We need structured information that should take the farmer. It's a journey now that will show them this is the right variety to grow. The other day I was sharing in that platform, I was telling them in a meeting to say, you know what? When we have an outbreak of cholera, an outbreak of COVID, what does the country do? You've heard of ambulances making all the noise. We've heard of all those things. When we're having an election in the country, what happens? When we're having an election in the country, what happens? Can you answer me?
Of course.
You see, even there's always a station where they are projecting results, and the people are busy watching and listening to the results of who has won the election. We need to have a system like that in our country for agriculture to change. We need an announcement that is different from the same way that we've been doing things. Because if we continue doing the same way we're doing things, I can tell you, it's another 50 years will pass, we'll still be getting 2 tons per hectare.
Mr. Mwenda,
God forbid. Can allow me to finish?
Somebody told me, if you continue doing the same thing and expect different results, then that's madness. But I'm not saying we are mad, no. And the country had a bumper harvest, jubilation everywhere, and yet the production levels are still very low. That's a story for another day. But again, let us also look at farm safety. It's a thorny issue, and it's an issue that has been there for a very long time. It's a drain to the farmer himself as well as the country at large. From your own perspective, how deep is this problem of farm theft?
Thank you very much. I will talk about the farm theft in a minute.
Yes.
I did not finish my thought.
No, that's a story for another day. I'll give you the whole day. That's a story for another day. Don't worry. I'll provide this platform.
No,
we'll delve
can
into
you
that.
allow me to just say under 1 minute? I'm not taking more than 1 minute.
I'm giving you 30 seconds.
30 seconds?
Yes, sir.
We need to have different communication strategy in terms of agriculture, of how we do the trainings, of how we project the information. Everyone must get that information.
Will the association also provide the same?
Of course.
Oh, that's good.
That's why we
So
are there.
let's look at...
We work with other stakeholders and provide that.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Look at
Let me now go to the
theft.
theft.
Yes.
Farm theft.
Yes, sir. How deep is this problem?
The problem is very deep. If we are able to carry out the statistics and you go around, even right here at this farm, there are several times that some thieves came and wanted to steal our pump.
You've suffered the same?
Several times. They have stolen one. They came, they wanted to steal another one, but we just did some, some work. I did not say I went to Chipata to get
Probably you went.
No,
you can't just disclose it here.
No, we bought new locks.
But what did you do?
I saw some serious person watching, and I realized that he was missing the point. So I just mentioned this part. I did not say that.
But what did you do, Mr. Mwenda?
So what I did first of all was to get a different locks that gives an alarm system. So we have an alarm system right now on the farm. The moment they touch the alarm will just ring and
just go off.
So it just went off, and people started running around. So that has given us a very good thing in terms of security. And apart from that, it's very important for farmers in each and every area to be having regular meetings. We need to develop agriculture.
Yes.
And agriculture is our special gift that God has given us, because it feeds a lot of people. If we don't do that, then we have a problem. So now we need to have regular meetings where people in different areas, they talk about security at farms. It's very important.
Who should start those meetings, or who should chair those meetings?
This is why I'm saying,
yes, sir.
We, for example, from our association, we want to ensure that we initiate such kind of meeting.
Okay.
The meetings can be organized by the chairman in those areas, by the extension officers in those areas. They talk about production. They must spend 5 minutes or 10 minutes talking about security in the areas, because almost everyone, even 2 days ago, one of my farmers wanted to plant 4,000 plants of cabbages.
Yes.
They wanted to get from my nursery. And I was telling them, the seedlings are ready. Come and get. What did they tell me? No, I'm so sorry, Mr. Mwenda, my pump. Some thieves came here and stole my pumps. Apart from just that, imagine how much money the person spent on the pump, as well as even the solar system. All the solar systems, everything was stolen in one night. It's a very serious thing, but it needs a different approach towards what we talk about when we have meetings. And when we are having when we are talking about it, when we're having meetings, one, there's need to also there's what is called neighborhood watch.
Yes.
That thing is still there. I don't know whether it's still there on paper or it's there.
It's no longer there.
But we just need to read. That's why I was saying we need a different announcement where you are calling on people. Hey, you know, when you have those things, when they are announcing that, the ambulance will be moving around and telling people that let's take our children to the nearest hospital for the checkups. Can we do the same in our farm so that we have those things, and then they know the neighborhood watch is there, the security people are employed. Even farmers in a certain area, they can contribute money to pay towards the security person who can be checking around and ensuring that things are put. And also alarm systems can also be installed in different farms, in different areas. It may be a very tough thing to look at, but it's something very important, because a lot of farmers are losing sometimes even 100% of their produce from thieves. Imagine you have harvested a bumper harvest, and right now we are busy celebrating about a bumper harvest.
Yes.
But as we are speaking right now,
some farmers
thieves
have
already put strategies of how they're going to steal that same maize. They are doing that. But we need to have this strategy so that we are able to see how best are we going to handle these things. Working with the police in our areas, there are plenty of them. Working with security companies in our areas, there are plenty of them. Can we work together? We already have structures in our nation. We don't need to suffer.
So, Mr. Mwenda, apart from putting those systems you've talked about, we're talking about the alarm systems, we're talking about forming the neighborhood watches, we're talking about incorporating the police. Is there any other strategies that farmers can impose on their farms, or is there any other thing that these farmers can do to avoid these rampant thefts?
Okay, so one other thing again is education.
Yes, sir.
It's also very important, because some of the incidences that are happening are in-house. Okay, the same guys that are so-called farm workers and things like that, they're the same people that some of them in certain areas, they're the ones that organize such kind of things. It's also important to just educate the people the importance of taking care of their produce, the importance of taking care of the farms, because the farms where they are, they employ people. They employ people who also take care of different families.
Yes, sir.
When we are saying that agriculture is employing, the majority of the people in any nation, and we are saying 80% of the people in any country, for example, in Africa, they are all in agriculture. So it means that agriculture is the one that is feeding almost everyone. So we need to make sure that we are feeding people. We are we are giving them information that teaches them that agriculture is not an event, but it's a generational undertaking. So they know that they can feed their family and their families from the same land. So education is also one of those important things. And apart from that, it's also important to actually, this is also another strategy that I was talking about.
Yes, which one is this?
Putting those dogs,
yes,
the German Shepherd. I don't know how you call them.
Those dogs are very expensive. How many farmers can afford such?
Listen to me, sir.
Yes.
Everything starts from somewhere. Right now, it's not just a small-scale farmer who is listening. Even an emergent farmer who can afford to buy a dog can do that.
But do you have
dogs are very, very expensive. I don't have those expensive dogs myself.
But why can't you?
Listen, sir.
Yes, Mr. Mwenda.
Those are very good questions. But you see, it's not every strategy that can work. I don't need dogs here.
Yeah.
It's not a strategy that I can look for dogs that's to put dogs there so that they can. I use like I've told you, I've already put an alarm and I'm safe.
Okay.
I'm not having such problems.
I thought maybe those dogs are expensive. No, farmers don't have
different
them.
Areas.
Oh,
different
okay.
areas.
Okay.
Even some of these commercial farms, some of them have them. But some of the emergent farmers, they also afford some dogs. They can also have that. It's not every strategy meeting everyone. No. There are different strategies meeting every farmer's pocket.
Yes.
When you don't have, there's a time that you're going to have. And when you have, that's where we are going.
Yes.
By the time you'll be doing 5 tons or 6 tons a hectare, it's very easy for you to buy a dog costing 15,000 kwacha. It all takes time. Everything takes time. But the most important thing is that let's share the information so that people can be able to get it. So that at the end of the day, they make the right decision that should change their lives.
That's good. Mr. Mwenda, let's switch on a bit. Of course, when you look at this country, much of the population comprise the youths. And if you talk about youth innovation, youth education, it is right there. But how has this helped to improve on our farms? The innovation for the youths, the education for the youth. How has this helped, or has it bring any change or any improvement on our farms? How have we incorporated the youths from your own perspective, Mr. Mwenda?
Thank you very much. I would want to start by saying that I realize that the youth in the country are very important.
Yes, sir.
And they are the future people that are going to be involved in the farming business.
Yes, sir.
And I think at some point I had some invitations from the University of Zambia, NRDC, and all the universities coming on board and said, can you speak to the students? Because these are the future agriculturists. These are the future people that are going to run the farms and going to run all these institutions. So the first step I did was to inspire them, to tell them, guys, I am growing pawpaw at my farm. I just started with a pawpaw. I am growing pawpaw at my farm.
Yes.
From one pawpaw, you are able to get so many pawpaws. And when you go to the market, just 1 year later, you are able to start making an income for yourself. When the youth heard that, today I'm receiving messages, and some of them have started doing this particular project. So what I'm trying to say is that the youth have the energy.
Okay.
The youth have the energy, number one.
Yes.
Number two, the youth still have time to run around. It's related to energy, where they can still run around and source for different types of information from anywhere, for that matter, for them to get into this. And that's why they are very, very important. And apart from that, it's very easy for the youth to go down there and explain the information they are getting to their parents, to their fathers, and to anyone who is involved in farming, so that they are able to disseminate the information. And apart from that, the youth have what they have what is called a vibe. I don't know. Vibe.
Yes.
You know,
the vibe. I know the vibe.
They have that vibe.
Just like you have the vibe.
Am I a youth with white hair like this?
I don't know. You could be.
And I'm youthful.
I love that, Mr. Mwenda. Mr. Mwenda. Yes.
Thank you very much for that.
Continue. They have the vibe.
They have the vibe.
Yes, sir.
And the vibe in itself is the one that can drive.
Yes.
Because the youth have got big ideas. They have big ideas.
Yes.
But they need the elderly to guide them on the big ideas. And this is the reason why they are very, very important in the agriculture sector of any country, because they are the one that form the majority actually of the population. It's the youth right now. We have a lot of them. So it's very easy for them to get into these things. And when they go out there, you know, some time ago, when I wanted to do an assignment at school, I would go to an old dilapidated library where we're going to check the books there. Some of them have got dust and things like that.
I love the word dilapidated.
Yeah, it was like that. You know, some library which were created in 1964.
Yes, sir.
And then we are getting there, we start reading the books and things like that. It was difficult to get the actual information of today.
Yes.
But today I'll just pick a phone and the
Google.
youth of nowadays have got iPhones, have got all these mics. How they afford, I don't know. I can't explain that. But the fact is
the
that
vibe.
They have the vibe.
That's why they are affording them.
Thank you very much. They can afford almost anything.
Yes.
So imagine if we involve the youth in the program that we are doing. Right now, the government is bringing very good programs of CDF, the SAF, on all those important programs. If we involve the youth, imagine how they go to their social media platforms and say, I've harvested so much. They'll start having their friends now start following what they're doing, because it's more or less like it's a wind that is blowing wherever everyone else wants to just be found, doing what someone else is doing. I remember when Dr. Tamara Kaunda was coming into the country.
Yes.
That young lady. She involved me a lot 10 years ago, where we went around the whole country talking about tomato growing.
Yes.
We were doing trainings every weekend. I would knock off from my office. The next day I'm on the road going to Chipata. The next day back. Saturday we have a workshop in Chipata talking about tomato. On Sunday, around 10 hours, we're supposed to be in Ndola doing a workshop. I would drive overnight. My wife was even saying, why do you work like that? I said, no, I'm working for the country. We need to work for the country. So the vibe can make a small scale farmer, a youth for that matter, to dig bigger portions of land. But they need our guidance. If they can manage to get this funding and they are guided accordingly, then we'll be able to see a different country in the next few years to come.
The guidance is the one that is missing?
The guidance is missing currently. It's fragmented.
Okay.
It's
not stable.
Let me tell you one thing.
Yes, sir.
The whole country, sometimes when we make announcements, we need to be very careful. If I mention to say the whole country, we have everything we need in our country. The peace is there, the weather is there, the information there, educated people, we have everything in the country. The thing that we are missing, we are not organized.
So you're saying...
We're not organized.
So in other words, you're saying we are not organized?
Imagine. Let's look at it this way.
Yes.
The Company A is going to go out. I mentioned this earlier on, I mentioned it earlier on. Company A is going to say they're having their own strategy of how they can go to the market, how they can do this and that.
Yes.
They will do they go on their own way. They do that thing. It ends there. Company B also will go. They will do their own thing. It ends there.
Of course, they want to make money.
Right now,
yes,
we have got several organizations, private companies, NGOs, government. Right now, some information in government, I did not know about it, but I've been around for many, many years. I only heard it about in a meeting. Because of the position I'm wearing today, the hat I'm wearing today in my position, that's how I was able to hear very good programs for the country.
So those programs are not implemented?
That's what I'm saying. But now we have a chance to implement those programs.
Good.
Because we want to see a change. There must be a Nelson Mandela waking up from somewhere. There must be a Nzima waking up from somewhere.
There must be a Mwenda.
There must be a Mwenda.
You should have a vibe like you.
I'm telling you, I don't want to say I've got a vibe, but something is heating up inside my heart. We need to change Africa. We need to change Zambia. We have everything. But if we work together, coordinated, not just work, when you are riding a bicycle, that's got a lot of spikes.
Yes.
They are on a wheel.
Yes.
And someone is doing like this, is going somewhere, is moving step by step, moving somewhere, and eventually it reaches its destination. We need to work like a bicycle where all our spokes, all our nails are into one thing. We are focusing on agriculture. How many years have we started talking about going back to the land?
From
How many
Kaunda.
years? Right now, 60 years later, after independence, we are still talking about poor yields. We are still talking about why?
For how long?
For how long? This has to change. And it can only change if we have structured programs working together for the benefit of this nation.
Mr. Mwenda, I know you as a seasoned agronomist, you've been to almost, let me not say all countries in Africa, but you've traveled far and wide within the continent of Africa, doing nothing but propagating the good news of agriculture. From your own understanding and from what you have seen and observed in those countries you've been to, would you safely say there's enough farmer-to-farmer cross-border collaboration happening within Africa?
The answer is a big no.
And why is it like that, Mr. Mwenda?
The problem that is there is that we don't have steering committees. When you're having a wedding, what happens?
Yes, of course, they'll put on those committees to make sure that the things happen.
We don't have committees that are able to deliver.
So that has been the missing link.
So that has been one of the things. Because imagine, I'm talking from experience. I've been to all these countries.
Yes.
When I'm going there,
traveled far and wide.
I'll tell them, get this variety of tomato. It's going to do ABC. They will say, huh? It's like I'm delivering information from heaven.
and they don't want to accept it.
They even want to give me a red carpet. Today you have just told us. Yeah, you have told us.
But implement this.
So now, what I'm trying to say is that that thing is missing.
The steering committees.
The steering committee thing is missing because we need somebody to be knocking on the doors of people and telling them this is what the right variety is, this. The right way of doing things is this. The way of doing this, the way, those things have to be structured in a way whereby when we are saying it's an SME, it's a message that is going across all countries in Africa, where we have one message where I post. You know, when we are saying African unity and we're talking about being united as a Africa, cross-border and all these things. Right now, if you were to ask some of the farmers in Zambia to say what is happening in Zimbabwe in terms of crops, they will be completely blank.
Yes.
A few of them will know what is happening in those countries.
Mr. Mwenda, in terms of these steering committees being missing, how? No, just get to where I'm trying to go.
No problem.
We've identified the problem as lack of steering committees. So who should form these steering committees?
Very interesting question.
Yes.
Right now, I was telling you that we have been put in the same steering committees where we're going to start now running around and sharing the information. You know, sometimes I say that people will always not listen to some people in one way or the other. But I can tell you to say the information I'm sharing now is the information where when Joseph was brought from prison and taken to that country, a foreign land, he became prime minister overnight.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
He gave a strategy about food. He was telling them, today we are sharing what's the day today? 3rd June,
yes,
2025.
Yes.
We are sharing the same information that Joseph shared on that same platform. If people are able to listen to us and get what we are saying, this continent will never be the same. The cross-border we are talking about,
yes,
the kind of information that is there,
yes, sir,
will be able to deliver that information. So as association like Farmers Association of Zambia,
yes,
and the governments, NGOs, private companies, we are going to be speaking the same language. In this aspect, I'll be given what do you call that thing they go around with?
The megaphone.
The megaphone.
Yes, sir.
I'll be given the megaphone and start saying, guys, Angola, Namibia, DRC, here we are. Right now I'm being called in DRC to go and help a farmer who is growing tomato. I'm being called in Namibia. One of my farmers there have become the best farmers in that particular town.
So you're going to propagate that information?
So right now, it's a time to say we have some answers to sort out some of the problems. So we need all of us to work together so that we're able to deliver this kind of information.
Okay, so the missing link, as you've heard, it's the steering committees are not available right here in Africa. Let's now come back home as we're winding up the program. How does the future of Zambian agriculture as well as Africa at large look like from your own perspective as we are winding down the program?
Thank you very much. So as a nation, we have this. I would say this is one of the biggest timings in centuries, because we have got almost everything.
As we are winding down, in case somebody, someone, a farmer out there, a citizen out there, or any other person who may want to reach you out, on what platforms can they find you?
Thank you very much. The first platform is, of course, my mobile line, which can I share it now?
Yes.
+260 966 784515.
Yes.
+260 966 784515. That's my mobile line. It's also on WhatsApp. And apart from that, I'm also available on social media platforms.
Yes.
LinkedIn.
Yes.
It's Eric K. Mwenda on LinkedIn. Eric
Yes.
K. Mwenda, you'll be able to find me there. Just look for my hat. This is my traditional, attire. You'll be able to check me there.
That's your trademark?
My trademark. Thank you very much for helping me. I've run out of words.
You see?
Because of talking for a long time.
But
in
you
the
have
sun.
the vibe.
The vibe must be there. So Eric
Yes,
K. Mwenda on LinkedIn. And then we also have Eric K. Mwenda on Facebook. I have, I think, maybe 3 or 4 platforms there. But you'll be able to see the trademark, the hat. That's where I am. And I share different programs on all those platforms. And then apart from that, ABN TV, African Television, I'm also on that platform. So ABN TV, there's a weekly program that runs there where I'm sharing information to different farmers out there. And they'll be able to reach me through that. And of course, different WhatsApp groups in different countries. If you are in Namibia, tell me. If you are in Nigeria, tell me. Right now, congratulations, AgriCorp. We are now going to the rest of the continent.
Thank you.
Keep it up.
Thank you.
So all your farmers on different countries, from Sierra Leone, I know someone from Ethiopia is going to say, oh, I was watching Mr. Tomato there. He has been following me for many, many years. Be in touch with AgriCorp. They'll be able to deliver the information to me. And we are still moving together, and be a farmer, be a millionaire must be the information that should be right in your brain. If you constantly speak about it, one day you tell me. I don't want to tell you where I am today because of the be a farmer, be a millionaire. But I can tell you to say 28 years of being around has made me to work for multinational companies in different areas. Please, let's be together. Let's reach out together. And I'll be having different training programs in different platforms. So when you check through the social media platforms, LinkedIn and all those places, you'll be able to see the training programs that are coming as we work for agriculture in Zambia and Africa.
Mr. Mwenda, thank you very much for being our guest on the program. So viewers, this has been AgriTalk Africa. And of course, on AgriTalk Africa, we talk agriculture. My guest this afternoon has been Eric Mwenda, a seasoned agronomist. He's the author of the book, Be a Farmer, Be a Millionaire, and he is an agri-motivator. We've looked at diverse issues, and he will come back again because he hasn't exhausted all that which he wanted to. This has been your host with the most at no cost, Penjan Nzima, also known as Uncle P. Until we meet again, it's AgriTalk Africa. We talk agriculture. Bye-bye.
Across Africa, the soil tells a story of hands that plant hope, of women and men who rise with the sun, shaping the future of our food, our land, and our economies. This is AgriTalk Africa, the podcast that puts farmers first. We go beyond the headlines to bring you authentic conversations with people driving change in African agribusiness. From financial literacy to climate-smart farming, from the challenges of rural financing to the triumphs of innovation. We educate, we inform, and we inspire. Welcome to AgriTalk Africa, where agriculture meets action.